There are people in this country living better on $900 a month than some folks manage on $4,000. They are doing it out of a plain white cargo van parked 3 streets over from you, and you have walked past them a dozen times without noticing. That is the whole point. The word most people use for this is homeless. The people actually doing it use a different word. And once you hear it their way, the whole thing stops looking like desperation and starts looking like arithmetic. Strip out rent, property tax, a water bill, and a mortgage payment, and what is left is a set of skills nobody ever taught you. 3 of them are the exact reason city councils have quietly passed ordinances to stop people from doing this at all. I will point those out as we go. 25 of them, counting down from a parking lot at 4 in the morning. Quick word about who this is for. Maybe you have got a son or a brother living out of his pickup who will not talk about it at Thanksgiving. Maybe you are retired and the property tax bill went up again this year. None of this came out of a brochure. It is what gets traded in parking lots by people who learned it the expensive way. And if even one of these saves you $100 this winter, do me a favor and hit that like button. Number 25, looking like work instead of home. A van with curtains in the windows reads as somebody living inside it. A van with an extension ladder strapped to the roof rack reads as a contractor who parked overnight. That single distinction is worth years of undisturbed sleep. So, throw a couple of orange traffic cones in the back, leave a 5-gallon bucket and a length of PVC pipe visible up front, and keep a clipboard on the dashboard. Cargo vans are invisible in America because every one of us was trained since childhood to ignore them. Number 24. Rotating your parking spots. Here is the first of the 3. This is what most overnight parking ordinances were written to stop, which tells you how well it works. The biggest mistake new van dwellers make is using one perfect spot every night. 2 weeks in, and somebody makes a phone call. Experienced people run a rotation instead. 4 or 5 spots, never the same one twice in a row. Hospital lots work beautifully because cars sit there all night and nobody questions a single one. Arrive after dark, leave before 7. The spot is disposable. The rotation is the asset. Number 23. Reflective window covers. The windows are the whole game. Get a roll of reflective bubble insulation from the hardware store. Trace each window onto it with a marker. Cut a 1/4 inch oversized and press it into the frame. One $20 roll just solved 3 problems. Nobody can see inside. Summer sun bounces off instead of cooking the interior, and your body heat stays in come January. Window inserts do more for comfort than any heater you could buy. Number 22. Frozen water jugs. Refrigeration eats more electricity than everything else in a van combined, which is why plenty of people skip the fridge and freeze water instead. Fill a few gallon jugs about 90% full so the ice has room to expand, and freeze them anywhere you can get to a freezer. 2 frozen gallons in a decent cooler hold food cold 3 or 4 days straight. Then when they melt, you have cold drinking water instead of dirty slush. One item doing 2 jobs. Number 21. Cardboard under the mattress. Cold does not come at you from the ceiling. It comes straight up through the floor, through one thin sheet of steel, with nothing underneath it but pavement. Flattened cardboard boxes, layered 2 or 3 deep beneath your sleeping platform, will do most of what expensive foam board does for nothing. Grocery stores hand it out at the loading dock if you ask. Cardboard, then a cheap foam pad, then your mattress, and that stack is worth 10 or 15 degrees on a January night, and you swap it out when it feels damp. Number 20. Heating the person, not the van. Now, the propane heater question. This is where people get seriously hurt, so pay attention. Anything that burns fuel inside a sealed vehicle produces carbon monoxide, and every winter there are stories that end badly in a parking lot. The old hands heat the person instead of the space. Boil water outside the van. Fill a rubber hot water bottle and slide it to the foot of your sleeping bag 20 minutes before you turn in, and it will still be warm at sunrise. Add a wool blanket over the bag, because wool insulates even when damp, and spend $15 on a battery-powered carbon monoxide alarm, mounted at head height near where you sleep. Cheapest life insurance sold anywhere, and the one item here I would not skip. Number 19. Camping free on public land. Here is the second of the 3. City parking is hard mode. Federal land is easy mode. Bureau of Land Management ground and most national forest land allows dispersed camping, which means you pull off a Forest Service service road, park, and stay up to 14 days at no cost whatsoever. There is no reservation to make, nothing to pay, and no ranger tapping on your window at 6 in the morning. Millions of acres across the western states, and moving down the road restarts the clock. People spend entire summers this way, and their housing cost for the season is gasoline. The catch is that it is genuinely remote, and every few years somebody in Washington floats shortening that 14-day window. Number 18. The gym membership shower. The shower problem gets solved with a gym membership, and it is not close. The big chains cost about what a phone bill costs, and the better tiers let you walk into any location in the country. That is a hot shower in every city you pass through, plus a clean restroom, air conditioning in August, and a wall outlet. But gyms cluster in cities, and if you are running interstates, there is a better answer. Number 17. Truck stop showers. That answer is the truck stops. The big chains all have private shower rooms built for drivers, locking door, clean towel, unlimited hot water, and anybody can buy one. But the drivers know something most travelers never figure out. If you are buying fuel there anyway, the loyalty programs bank a free shower credit after enough gallons, and those credits can be given away. Ask a driver at the fuel counter, and you will be surprised how often one gets handed over. Number 16. The public library as a living room. Showers solve one problem. The other is where you spend the 8 hours between waking up and getting tired, because sitting in a parked van all day is how people lose their minds. The public library is the most underused building in America, and it works as a free living room. Heat in winter, cooling in summer, a real bathroom with a mirror, free internet, and an outlet at every table. Nobody asks what you are doing there, because not asking is the entire design of the place. Number 15. Buying yourself an address. Every system in this country quietly assumes you have an address. Banks want one, the DMV wants one, Social Security wants one, and none of them have a box to check for none of the above. So you go buy one. A mailbox at a private shipping store gives you a real street address with a suite number rather than a post office box, and most forms accept it without a second glance. Better still are the mail forwarding services built for full-time travelers, which scan your envelope so you can read what arrived from your phone and ship the important pieces wherever you are. Number 14. Choosing your home state. And here is the third one, the one that would genuinely irritate a state revenue office if enough people did it. Completely legal, extremely boring, and worth more money than everything above it combined. Your domicile is the state you are legally based in, and when you have no fixed home, you get to pick. South Dakota, Texas, and Florida all built systems around full-time travelers, and South Dakota is the famous one because the requirement is about as light as it gets. Set up mail forwarding in the state, spend one night in a motel, keep the receipt, and register. What you walk away with is no state income tax, cheaper registration, and often dramatically lower insurance. Retirees who switch save a few thousand a year without changing one thing about how they live. The rules do get adjusted, so check current requirements first. Number 13. The bucket toilet. Nobody wants to discuss this part, so let us just get through it. The composting toilets sold for recreational vehicles cost about as much as a used engine. What works is a 5-gallon bucket, a snap-on toilet seat lid from the hardware store, and a bag of wood stove pellets. You go, you cover it with a scoop of pellets, you close the lid, the pellets pull the moisture out, and moisture is the entire source of the smell, which is why there is genuinely no odor. Bag it properly and put it in a dumpster you have permission to use. Never on the ground. That habit is what keeps whole towns from turning against people doing this. Number 12. The bucket washing machine. Laundromats add up faster than people expect, and half the time you are feeding quarters in to wash 4 shirts and some socks. A 5-gallon bucket with a lid, a hole cut in the top, and a clean toilet plunger pushed through it makes a washing machine for about $8 that runs on your arms. Warm water, a spoonful of detergent, 30 plunges, drain, rinse, 30 more. Wring it out and hang it on a cord strung across the van while you drive. Airflow does the drying for free. Number 11. Thermos cooking. Propane costs money, and every minute cooking heats up the space you have to sleep in. So burn fuel once and let insulation finish the job. Boil water, pour it into a wide-mouth vacuum thermos with rice, oats, or a piece of chicken, seal it tight, and go about your day. 4 hours later, it is cooked through and still steaming. Same principle as the old hay box our grandmothers used during the war years, just with better technology, and no condensation fogging up every window. Number 10. Power from the engine you already already own. Most people need far less electricity than they assume. That is 100-watt solar panel on the roof and a single deep cycle battery under the bed. But there is a cheaper route people forget entirely. Your engine already generates electricity every time you drive. A basic battery isolator lets the alternator charge a second battery while you are rolling, which means every trip to the grocery store tops you back off. Number 9. The charging run. If you would rather not spend a dime on solar, the charging run works fine. Buy 2 large power banks, the kind that refill a phone 4 or 5 times over, and plug them in wherever you already happen to be standing. Libraries, laundromats, coffee shops, the outlet beside the treadmill at the gym. Charge one bank while the other is in use and swap them every couple of days. It is the difference between a $1,000 electrical system and $60 of batteries. Before the top 10, a quick word about the stuff I had to leave out. There is more to this than fits into 25 items. The domicile paperwork runs different in South Dakota than in Texas or Florida, and getting the order wrong costs people months, and winter setups are the same way. So I wrote it down instead. It is called the Van Life Savings Manual, and it is built to be printed and kept in the glove box rather than read on a screen. Checklists you can tick off, a winter setup list you can hand to somebody at a hardware store counter, state by state on the domicile question, and a one-page card for the maintenance fund we get to at number 3. The link is in the description below, or scan the code on your screen right now. Whether you are thinking about this life, already living it, or you have got somebody in the family who is, that manual is worth having in the truck. Alright, top 10, starting with the food. Number 8, the Free Food Network. Food is where the real money hides, and there is far more free food in this country than anybody admits out loud. Food banks operate in most towns, and many will hand a box to whoever asks with little paperwork, though it varies by county, so a phone call first saves an awkward trip. Church pantries run the same way, and grocery stores mark down bakery, deli, and meat in the last hour before closing, and the staff will tell you what time that happens if you are pleasant about asking. And there are apps now where restaurants sell the day's leftovers for a couple of dollars. Number 7, one pan cooked outside. Cook outside whenever weather allows, and cook in one pan. A single burner butane stove and a small cast iron skillet will handle everything you genuinely eat. Eggs, potatoes, sausage, a whole chicken thigh dinner with onions. Outside means no fumes in the sleeping space, no grease film on the ceiling, and no moisture building up in your walls. And cast iron keeps cooking off the flame, which stretches your fuel. Number 6, cracking 2 windows. Every night you sleep in a van, you breathe out close to a pint of water, and it has to go somewhere. Left alone, it lands on the ceiling, runs down the walls, soaks into the insulation, and inside a single season, you have mold and rust eating the vehicle from the inside out. The fix costs nothing. Crack 2 windows on opposite corners, front left and rear right, about an inch each. Cross flow is the whole mechanism, which is why 2 windows cracked on the same side does nothing at all. Air needs somewhere to go, not just somewhere to enter. Every person who has ruined a van tells the same story, and it starts with sealing everything tight to stay warm. The cardboard and the window covers solve the cold. The inch of open window saves the van. Number 5, staying legal and staying boring. The fastest way to lose this life is attracting attention. Keep the registration current and the inspection sticker valid, because an expired tag is the one thing that reliably gets a van towed, and a towed van is a lost home. Keep the outside washed, because a filthy van gets looked at twice. Nothing stacked against the windows, no gear bags behind the windshield, and nothing on the roof that looks lived in. Curtain off the cab so a passing flashlight finds an empty front seat. Somebody has to complain first, and boring vans do not generate complaints. Number 4, healthcare that already exists. Healthcare frightens people about this life more than anything, and there is a system most folks have never heard of. Federally qualified health centers operate in almost every county, and they are required to charge on a sliding scale based on what you actually earn. Walk in with proof of low income and a visit can run $15. They handle primary care, prescriptions, dental work, and mental health, and the federal agency that funds them keeps a searchable searchable map of every location. County health departments do vaccines and screenings for nothing. If you served, the Veterans Health System will see you regardless of your address. And dental schools do the same procedures, supervised by faculty, for a fraction of the price. Number 3, the maintenance fund. Now the one that separates people who last from people who do not. Your van is not your car. Your van is your house. And the morning it refuses to start, you are actually homeless. So the maintenance fund comes first. Oil changes on schedule. Tires before they go bald. Belts and hoses at the first squeal. Brakes early. Set aside a fixed amount every month and do not touch that money for any reason, including a good one. The people who have been doing this a decade all repeat the same line. They eat cheaper so the van can eat better. Almost nobody washes out from weather or police or loneliness. They wash out because a fuel pump went and there was nothing in the envelope. Number 2, nose out, always. This one is about sleeping well, and almost nobody mentions it. Never park anywhere without already knowing where you go next. Before you shut your eyes, the backup spot should be picked, and you should be able to drive straight out without backing up or turning around. Nose pointed toward the exit, every time. So if there is a knock on the window at 2 in the morning, you say sorry about that, start the engine, and you are gone in 40 seconds with no argument. Almost nobody knocking is looking for trouble. The trouble starts when you cannot leave, because then somebody is running your plate while you back and fill in a tight lot with an audience. Number 1, the network nobody can shut down. And number 1, the thing that makes all 24 of the others actually work. Not a single trick in this video was invented by one person. Every one of them came from somebody who figured it out in a parking lot and then told the next person who pulled in. The frozen jugs, the pellet bucket, the cardboard under the mattress, all of it got passed hand to hand exactly the way our grandparents traded canning recipes over a back fence. There are gatherings out in the Arizona desert every winter where thousands of vehicles park in a wide circle and spend 2 weeks teaching each other everything they know. There are forums where a stranger will drive an hour with a spare alternator because you posted that you were stuck. Somebody always knows a mechanic in that town who is fair and which lot gets patrolled. You can pass every ordinance you want. You cannot outlaw people looking out for each other. And that is the one resource in this whole system that never runs out. So there it is, 25 things, almost none of them costing real money, which is precisely why nobody advertises them on television. There is no company selling cardboard insulation. There is no commercial for a 5-gallon bucket and a bag of wood pellets. The whole economy runs on you paying rent, paying a utility bill, and paying somebody else to solve problems you could handle yourself with a plunger and some sawdust. Whether you ever sleep in a van or not, the thinking underneath this is worth carrying around. Look hard at what you pay for every month and ask whether there is an older, simpler, cheaper version people used before somebody found a way to sell it back to you. The answer is usually yes, and it has usually been sitting on a shelf the entire time. Hit subscribe, because next week I am covering which vans actually run 300,000 miles and which ones leave people stranded on the shoulder. That one matters more than anything here, because the maintenance fund only works if you bought the right vehicle to begin with, and the manual is still in the description if you want the printed version.